reloading has really never been our wheelhouse, unfortunately. That is a whole world in and of itself, and we've just never really dived in completely. We've had reloading stuff. I would recommend starting simple and really learning the basics of it, and really being cautious. I have at least once a year, we'll get somebody in here that blows up a gun. I know we showed it last week. If you ever want to see what happens if you don't pay attention while you're reloading, we've got a Taurus here, 45 ACP that a gentleman years ago when we first opened blew up in the range, double charge of powder in one of his cases and blew the gun up. Luckily, he was okay, had a couple scrapes and burns on his hand, but for the most part, he was okay. The gun did what it was designed to do and blow out the bottom of the gun. But still, very scary experience. And, something that if you're not paying attention, if you're not on top of your game and you don't have every, you make 1,000 rounds, you make 10,000 rounds, the chances of something going wrong
every round that you make, the chances of something going wrong go up a little bit, right?
Now, all the reloaders out there are cringing because hundreds of thousands of reloaders have made millions of rounds over the years with no problem. And that is true. I guess just kind of do like a self, like a gut check on yourself. Like, I am not a reloader and I never will be. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the mindset for it. I'd be drinking a beer, watching TV, chatting to my buddies on the radio, and I would make a mistake, and I just don't have the mindset for it. It's one of those things, though, that if you do have the mindset for, it's a whole hobby. We've got guys, we've got an old timer that comes in here. He'll shoot like 3 rounds out of his handgun, and he'll take some notes in his log, and then he'll go home and he'll tinker with his formula, and then he'll come back and he'll shoot a few more rounds, and he'll tinker with it. And like the shooting is like the side part of the hobby for him. Like the reloading is his hobby. So I'm sorry we don't have any good advice on that per se. But yeah, get a reloading book and just learn. I would really try to, obviously like with any hobby, just try to really soak in as much as you can, because that's one where you don't want to make a mistake, right? So Pat, why don't you do the next one there?
All right.
From Pat.
What's the best external? From Patrick Maggio. So thank you. What's the best external hammer-fired DA/SA subcompact? Well, my CZ-P07, I'm looking for something smaller. Know about the PPK and the Rami, but they are both so heavy. I think it negates the smaller size. So that's a pretty good question, and I think I have a good answer.
Nice. I think my answer is going to be different than Pat's. I'm going to say the SIG 239 would be my answer.
So he wants double singles. So the 239 is a double only, or is that?
Single.
No, that is double.
That should be double single. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking
there you go.
T290. So I don't know if you're going to put this in the subcompact category. It's a big gun, right? Now, in my defense, right, I carry a SIG. In fact, I'm carrying right now a SIG P228. So I carry big handguns as like a rule. That's kind of my deal. So I would say that this PX4 Beretta is probably my favorite, like, as far as a lighter gun.
Sure.
It's a polymer frame gun. It's got a rotating barrel design, so the barrel is always in a good straight line with the frame. It does have a plastic trigger, which drives me a little bit nuts, honestly.
I don't like that.
That's not like my favorite part about the gun, but it is a Beretta, and the single action trigger is actually really good.
They're very cool guns. I love the. I don't know on the subcompact, does the barrel rotate? I don't know if it does or not. I know on the big ones it does. Yeah, I guess it does. There you go. Yeah. Pretty cool design. There are a bunch of Smith & Wesson. I'm gonna butcher like the exact model numbers, but their legacy, like 80s and 90s, like 3906 and 40, insert any 4 numbers basically.
Right.
They made a whole series of semi-autos. Again, they're not really going to be subcompact.
No, they're
kind of
stretching it.
Big, and there's not much that's made like current production that we could get from a distributor. There's not much. That's really. Like you're looking at Walther PPK would be another one. my issue with that is just so heavy. It's just a brick, you know,
Or
for
like
its
like a Bursa Thunder.
yeah, even
Same deal.
Yeah,
even
yeah,
heavier still, and it's a Bursa too.
Right.
So it's
like
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Can I choose one?
yeah, please go ahead.
I like the P30, the P30 SK.
Okay.
I know Pat doesn't like the P30s. He's not a big HK guy, but I'm a fan personally.
There you go. So yeah, I guess that's there we go. And that's you know the last half of his question. I think any of these double action, single action guns, just I guess like by their nature or by their design, like no one really makes a subcompact, lightweight one. It's just not really a thing. Any of them that are out there, you know, it's kind of one of those like pick any two.
Right.
Like you're not going to get a lightweight one. It's going to be really heavy. And like the PPK is small and it's double action, single action, but it's as heavy as a full size like 1911. You know, right?
Very chunky.
So sorry, Pat. I don't know.
Can't win them all, man.
There's a niche in the market. So go ahead, get the machine shop going in your garage and just start making something. How hard can it be? John Browning did it in Utah in like the 1800s with nothing, right? Come on.
What's your
Yeah, what's your excuse? Oh man. John Davis, not really a question, but he is excited to see someone get pepper sprayed. And I don't know if you want to cut over to you, mister, and talk about what you're doing on Sunday. Try to pump that up a little bit. Sunday.
So I guess Sunday. I mean, I am doing.
You're planning this.
Yeah, I'm not guessing. I am doing this.
Sure.
Sunday. Is this? Can we just invite people to this? How do you want to play?
I think it's gonna have to be online only. We really can't have people here.
Okay, we're probably not gonna live stream it because I want to cut it and make it like good.
Okay. We might live stream some of like just to build some hype, but we won't spoil the actual event itself. Maybe like setting up for it or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, it'll be like phone live stream.
We just got several products in, and I'm going to test them out and see what works best. I'm the kind of guy when I'm selling you something, I want to know. Obviously, I'm not going to know how 9 feels. It's just stupid. But pepper spray, that is something I can survive. And when somebody asks me, what would you give your daughter in college? I want to be able to, you definitely want bear mace because it's going to suck. So that's what I'm doing Sunday. We're making a video for a new line of videos we're making, product demonstration of various pepper sprays that we are going to be selling. Really
Nice. It sounds fun.
It's going to be very fun.
It sounds very fun. Yeah.
Fun for somebody.
Yeah, not for him. Well, maybe for him. I like your idea though, like just to, you know, this Barnes 147 grain, like, this really, this hurts way more than the SIG.
Burns.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, John, stay tuned. Like you said, we're probably going to need to edit those videos. I don't think we could do those live. Just knowing what this guy's capable of over there.
The first time I got sprayed, there was some swearing that I definitely had to like
get that bleep button ready. I don't think that machine has a bleep button. We'll have to,
not this one.
Not that one. Yeah, we'll have to buy the next one.
Not yet.
JL asks, I'm planning to buy an AR for home defense. That's the best thing I've heard all day because most people want to buy a shotgun, and that's not a good idea, right? So I want to buy a modern AR-15. Good job. Unfortunately, that's very difficult to do right now.
It's hard, but yeah.
But good.
I applaud your thought process.
And he hears from some people that detachable magazines are illegal here, no matter what, even if they're 10 rounds or less. And he would like info about this before he goes out on the market.
Okay, perfect. So, got a couple things we can show. So, this is not an AR-15. I want to preface what I'm about to say with, obviously, this is not an AR-15. Okay. However, it does have a detachable 10-round magazine. Okay?
And pretty much as long as it, you know, we kind of jokingly call them like PMAG adapters. Like as long as it shoots 5.56 and takes an AR-15 mag, you're close enough. Right?
Pretty close enough for what you're trying to do, right? But so why is this important? Well, it has a detachable magazine, and the reason it does is because it doesn't have threads on the muzzle here, and it doesn't have a bayonet lug.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any sort of pistol grip, right? Because it's got this shark fin back here, this piece of polymer that prevents me from wrapping my thumb around the backside there. It's also got no detachable or folding or adjustable sliding stock, right? So because it doesn't have any of those kind of scary features, right? This gun is considered to be okay as a featureless gun with a detachable magazine, right? So this gun apparently is harmless because it doesn't have any of those other scary features. Now,
as a quick, just real quick interruption,
sure.
I'm super proud that Steyr AUG even exists. Two years ago, Josiah and John went to SHOT Show, and Josiah, when he was there, was talking to the people from Steyr and mentioned that if Steyr made a few small tweaks, namely not threading the barrel and installing that Kydex fin, that they would open up the New York market and have a New York compliant AUG. And Steyr was like, okay, that does sound kind of cool, but kind of put your money where your mouth is. Like, Josiah's like, we can sell these. I know we would sell them. And they said, you got to buy 5 of them up front. And as you can see, I mean, that's a used one for $2,299 plus tax. I think new, they're like, what, 25 or 2,600? Like, they're not a cheap firearm, obviously. They're very,
$22.99.
This is $22.99, not as much as I thought. But they're not a cheap firearm, right? They're very well made. And we took them up on that offer, and we ordered 5 of those rifles. And basically, because of Josiah and because of the firing pin, that AUG exists, the New York legal Steyr AUG. So pretty cool. I'm very proud that we were able to make that happen for everybody here in New York. And that is one of the best options, I would say. I mean, we could obviously debate the benefits of a bullpup all day, and I would still take an AR-15 if given the choice.
Sure.
If you're into bullpups and you want a detachable magazine, that's definitely a really good option.
Well, but so more in keeping with the AR style platform, right?
Yeah.
So here we have something with an AR style receiver extension, and we have something with an AR style pistol grip, right? And we have something that looks like it has a threaded
basically AR
muzzle.
style safety controls,
too, right? Yeah. Essentially, right? So, but if we had pretend that this was an AR-15, right, and we had a crowned muzzle here, right, and we had a spur grip or a shark fin like this, and we had a fixed stock here, right, we could still have our detachable magazine, right, because we still wouldn't have any of those features, right? So to answer the question from Mr. Camacho, no, we don't need to have a gun without a detachable magazine, but we need to have either a gun that has those features on it or a gun that has a detachable magazine.
Sure.
So hopefully that was helpful to you. And
the only other thing I would suggest, and none of these things that we've showed you are AR-15s.
But they all have the same type of.
Correct. Right. You could do a Thordston stock AR-15.
Correct.
If you have your AR-15 built the right way with a crowned barrel, no other features, and a Thordston stock or a spur grip.
Or the shark fin.
Or the shark fin, you could have an AR-15 with a removable mag.
Right.
Good to go. And I believe there were some replies to this comment. It's totally okay to run a 10-round mag that is the size and shape of a 30-rounder or a 40 or whatever you want to do. As long as it only holds 10 rounds or less, you're good to go, right? Cool. What are some dry fire? Charles, asks, what are some dry fire drills we can do at home? Obviously, ammo has been in short supply, and dry fire is a helpful tool for sure. Maybe 2 drills. What do you think? Right off the top of your head. No.
So one of the things that I like to do is like just the old tap rack drill, right? Because obviously, if I'm dry firing the gun and I'm doing it correctly, I'm always going to get a click and never a bang. Right?
Sure.
So yeah.
Hopefully.
Right. So. But seriously, guys, make sure that when you're doing your dry fire drills that you go ahead and use, I encourage you to use snap caps, right? Or some kind of ammunition substitute, right? That is inert. So you have to go through that deliberate procedure of unloading the gun and loading it with something that right, is always going to give you that click. Because seriously, guys, like dry fire is, it's awesome to do, but it can be dangerous if we don't do it correctly. So I just always want to make sure that we hit home on that point of make sure that you're doing it safely, make sure that you're unloading your guns, make sure that you're putting all your live ammunition like safely in another room and all of that good stuff, and make sure that if you're not using snap caps, at least that you're visually, verifying the ammunition status of the gun before you start any of that kind of stuff. Okay. So with that in mind, the tap rack drill, right? As soon as I get the gun out of the holster, or, I go from a compressed high ready or compressed low ready or whatever, and I press trigger, I'm going to get a click instead of a bang. And obviously that would trigger me to do my immediate action drill, right? So I'm going to tap and I'm going to rack. And if I have a snap cap in the chamber, then the snap cap is going to come out and the action's going to close. We're going to be good to go. If I have no snap cap in the gun, or if I've already done it with the snap cap and now I have an empty chamber, then I'm going to go ahead and get a slide block, right? So when I get that slide block, that's going to be a good trigger for me to go ahead and execute that emergency reload and get a fresh magazine back in the gun, right? So that's another thing that I can do with that same thought process. So that's two, right? We can do one with the snap cap and make sure that the action closes when we, tap rack, and then we can do one with the empty magazine and do the reload drill. And then we can also obviously do like a tac mag, like a proactive reload with retention in there too. Nice. Mix some of those in, throw in a little bit of lateral movement. A lot of different stuff you can do.
Man, especially that when you say that tap rack drill, I'm sure you saw the video of that officer in that shoot that just came out.
I did,
and she practiced that for sure. Good
definitely
thing,
has been
she
training
did.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
That was crazy. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, where to find it, but there's a video that just came out. Yeah, if you're looking at any of the cop channels out there, just came out, and there was a female officer and a guy coming up on her, clearly is trying to attack her and hurt her, and she draws and shoots, and I don't know, some kind of malfunction with the gun.
I couldn't tell really. The video was a little bit grainy.
It was tough.
But, looked like she got a stovepipe. Did
a clearing, tap rack and back on it. And Ty made a comment. Ty, what were you and I talking about with that in regards to magazine limits?
Yeah, if you watch that video, she probably gets 8 rounds on the dude, and he's still coming at her with a knife. New York State, we're only allowed to have 10. So if you have 2 guys on you,
right,
you better make those. She made it out, obviously, but everybody's going to be different.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good illustration of the point that I always make here at the gun counter, which is like ultimately handguns are really not that efficient as far as like defensive tools. We think that having one is definitely better than not having one, and obviously I agree with that mindset. Having one is good, but honestly, like they're just not that effective, guys. And in particular, if you haven't trained with it a whole bunch and you really don't know how to use it all that well, and if you're not trained and proficient with it, and you run into an issue like what we saw in that video, then obviously you're gonna have a bad time and you're gonna get poked up by that guy with a knife. So something to think about, right?
Train.
You could tell she trained really. Like it was just so like.
Yeah, no, it was definitely instinctual.
Memory.
She knew. She knew that the gun was down. And
Joel has got a good one for us. Why does it seem like 6.8 special hit its peak and then literally fell off the radar? I reload, but I have a hard time finding ammo or supplies anywhere. It's been this way for about 2 years now.
So 6.8, I have a hypothesis about that. And honestly, it boils down to the case capacity of the parent case, the 5.56. Right?
Okay.
Because when you take the 5.56 case and you blow it out and you put a 6.8 caliber bullet in that case, you're really, or 6.8 millimeter, excuse me, kind of limiting the ballistic capabilities of that round, right?
Gotcha.
It doesn't have great like ranging capabilities relative. It doesn't offer that much of an advantage over the 5.56.
The military was testing it for a while.
Yeah, they were testing it, and they wanted it as a substitute. And the reason they liked it was because it would have worked really well in terms of being based on the same case head and being based on the same cartridge case, so the same magazine wells and different stuff like that. Really only have to change like upper receivers, right, to have a gun that like works reliably. But the problem with the round is it really doesn't give you that much more of a benefit over the 5.56 in terms of like increased range.
Sure.
It's better in terms of intermediate, like stopping power or transferring energy into a target, right?
Yeah.
So fewer rounds needed per engagement theoretically, and better like intermediate barrier penetration within like, you know, urban combat type distances. But outside of that, like it's really not giving you enough, right?
So, you know, kind of a combination of things. It sounds like, you know, if the military
adopt it.
Right, like if the military starts sniffing around about the cartridge, like it's going to start getting a little popular here and there. And, you know, every cartridge has its niche. There's going to be things that it does. If you do this specific thing, you know, at these distances, you know, and like you said, if you already have 5.56 AR, maybe you're a hunter. That's where I see 6.8 being used the most, or the hunting crowd.
Right.
But it's one of those things. There are just, I mean, every year at SHOT Show, Nosler and Federal, and like if you are an ammo company, just like every other company, you've got to grow. You've got to come out with new products. I mean, every year at the Nosler booth, they got a new cartridge, they got a new bullet, it's got a new, better 0.001% ballistic coefficient on this and that. And, you know, a lot of these things on paper, yes, are better, but just that real world juice versus the squeeze, you know, it's just not
right.
It's not that much better. And it was the same with like 300 Blackout when that really started coming out, because that and 6.8 I think came around relatively similar. I remember seeing them.
Yeah, I think the 6.8 was definitely first, but then the 300 Blackout was like,
and it's the same kind of thing.
Same thing. They were trying to develop something.
You know,
new.
we would carry like 5. We had it, right. You know, and 300 Blackout obviously has exploded with the use of suppressors in free states. Yeah. That's where it shines really. And to piggyback kind of off of this, people ask us all the time, like, should I get an AR in 300 Blackout? And it's like, man, not in New York. You know, if you lived in a free state where you could own a suppressor all day, because that's fun. There's a good case for that. But up here, I just don't see it. Again, I mean, do what you want, you know. But
so speaking of,
I would always pick 5.56 over 300 Blackout.
So speaking of that, can I talk about something for a second, because it's really bothering me. So
please.
The other day, a guy came in here with a 300 Blackout that he had like built.
Sure.
Like built, not bought, right? So
we joke about that all the time.
I'm sorry, but so anyway, this dude comes in and he's got a gun that he built, right? And he's like very excited to shoot it out on the range and stuff like this. And he gets out there and could tell by like the rate of fire coming from the lane that there were some issues going on. And eventually, like, he comes out and grabs me and he's like, "Hey man, can you give me a hand?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I go into the range and his gun is just like, it won't even go into battery, right?
Yeah.
His bolt will not even close.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, "Dude, who built this gun?" And he was like, "Well, I did." And I was like, "Who made this barrel?" And he was like, "I don't know." I was like, who made this bolt carrier group? I don't know.
Not important.
Right. No, these things are important. But like, his gun wouldn't even close. The chamber would not even close on these rounds.
Yeah.
And like, he's not checking headspace on this gun, right? When he's putting it together.
Who does?
Right.
I say that sarcastically, of course, but
no,
like,
generally people don't, right? But that's my point, right? It's like in the 300 Blackout and in some of these other caliber, like if you're playing around with 5.56, you know, and you're going to like certain places to get your parts, right? You're probably going to be good to go, right? If you're going to like Ballistic Advantage to get a barrel, and you're going to like, right, if you're staying within specific like manufacturers and you're not getting too crazy with it, like bargain basement nonsense, then you're probably going to be okay. But when you start getting into these guns and you're just trying to build something for $300 or $400 or $500, guys, I'm telling you, you're running a huge risk.
Yeah.
And I know we think of these things as being like Lego sets, but man, one of you guys is going to snap something together one day.
It's a lot of PSI right next to your face.
So, and like, I get guys on the phone all the time, "Hey, I'm having this issue or that issue." And it's like, okay, well, who put the gas block on? Well, I did.
Right.
Well, is it like cross pinned, or is the barrel dimpled?
Mm-hmm.
Did you use knurled head set screws? How did you align the gas block? Like, you know, just trying to figure out what these guys are doing. And most of them don't have any idea what's going on.
Sure.
Right. So, and I'm not saying that you need to be like an expert, and I'm not saying that I know everything that there is to know about building these guns, guys, but what I am saying is like there's more to it than some of you may have been led to believe.
Right. It's definitely, I always recommend, like, especially first time people, buying a lower, putting the lower together, if you mess it up, it's just not going to work.
Right.
There's really nothing you can do harmful
that's gonna mess you up.
Right. But man, most people, I recommend they buy an upper that at least like, the barrel and the upper and like the gas block, like at least the key components, like it's worth having someone professional with the right tools and can headspace and, match all those things up. Like it's worth
somebody
it.
that knows about like torque values,
right?
And thread treatments, and just
you just tighten it down
like
till it don't tighten anymore, right?
Just okay,
I was gonna say the same thing. You just you just give it another ugh.
No, that's not
oh man.
Please don't do not here.
So,
do that at home where you don't have to worry about it.
To circle back to Joel's question on 6.8, it's one of those things that just the market, it's like any other product when it first kicks off. You've got to have the users and the manufacturers to supply it as well. I don't think many people, I don't think every manufacturer made that cartridge. They may have for a while, but yeah, it's going to be one of those. I feel like keep looking, and eventually it's popular enough. Enough of those guns were made that there are people who still shoot them.
Oh, they're still around.
It's going to be one of those you're just going to need to stock up.
LWRC still makes a dedicated 6.8, I'm sure.
Yeah, so cool. Jesse Cunningham, one of our top fans. How often do you recommend range training, and how many rounds do you recommend for an average range session?
Well, honestly, I recommend that you shoot as often as you can afford to shoot. I mean, I know that sounds like I'm trying to sell you a lot of ammo.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that. But honestly, like, I think that shooting is a perishable skill. I think it's important enough, and I think there's enough to know that you should try to do it as often as you can, right? I like to try and shoot a couple times a week. Now, obviously, this is what I do, and I teach it all the time. And
right.
Like, it's a luxury for me that, like, I'm fortunate enough that, like, people pay me money to shoot. So that works out pretty good. But yeah, as much as you can do it, honestly, and if you can't shoot, then I recommend that you do dry fire.
Sure.
And as far as like how many rounds to shoot, now this is going to surprise you a little bit. I don't recommend shooting a whole hell of a lot of rounds, right? I recommend training frequently, but I don't recommend training until the point of like being exhausted or like, your hands aren't, able to grip the gun anymore.
You're just making noise at that point again. Yeah.
Right. No, I like 100 rounds of pistol or 150 rounds of pistol. You can get you'd be surprised how high quality of a training set. In fact, I'm going to try, after I get back from the tactical games, I don't know what show that's going to be, but I'll do a show and it will be based on like a 150 round range session for a handgun. If I just want to go and do a 150 round practice session on my own, what would I do? Right? What would be the range plan? What would be the training plan? And then I'll do the same thing for a carbine. Right? So that would be like 150 handgun and 150 carbine. And that, if I went and did that, that would probably be a couple of hours on the range. I'd probably spend an hour or so shooting the handgun, and then I'd probably spend an hour or so shooting the carbine, and then I would be good to go.
Nice.
So
nice. Tommy, who gave us his call sign here too, GMRS, Whiskey Romeo Hotel Whiskey 938, said, if I wanted to show some love, do you guys prefer donuts in the morning or pizza for lunch? That's my gut instinct answer on that is just yes. Right? I think that's what somebody commented to him on Facebook. Man, that's so generous, and please, think of any other worthy cause before us, because we're doing good over here. We could certainly, use a day without pizza.
I don't miss many meals, my friend. I do appreciate the thought.
We love it,
though.
though. We love it.
Yeah, for sure.
I would highly encourage anyone who does want to support us to sign up either as a member. Obviously, here we have
for sure.
Monthly memberships that have a ton of benefits and are very easy to enroll and unenroll. You do it online, and you put your credit card in, and like if you signed up today, like whatever today is, every month that's when it comes out. Super easy. So that would be a really good way to support us. You can also support Pat's training. That would be another great thing, and that's helping you out as well. Obviously, he's got a lot of great training. Or I would highly encourage anyone to join 2A New York State, which
100%,
is an up and coming. They're a newer gun rights 2A organization, and they are the ones that we're involved with our lawsuit against the state. Really don't have any updates for that. Unfortunately, I know the state sent us a rebuttal or whatever, and they obviously they didn't like what we had to say, and they tried to dismiss a lot of our arguments. And one of the big ones, unfortunately, our friends who have been talking to the owner on Facebook back and forth, our 2 pages, the owner of Darkstorm Industries. I think his name's Ed. But the owner of Darkstorm Industries, their lawsuit, they got shot down, and their argument was, again, like, your Second Amendment was essentially taken away in New York State when they shut down the state, and they said that gun stores are not essential, right? You really can't get a firearm in New York unless you go to an FFL.
Because private sales,
right?
You have to have.
You can't do it. You can't order stuff in. You can't whatever. So they said, you're infringing on all these people's Second Amendment rights, and the court came back and they said, well, the big box stores, Walmart's open. Walmart's an FFL, so nobody's rights were trampled on, or say for Logan, I don't think there's one down where Darkstorm is, but say Runnings, right? Runnings was open the entire time. They're an FFL, so your rights weren't trampled on, citizen. You're okay, and that was basically shut their case right down. So I'm not hopeful really for our case, and I'll be honest, I never really was. But again, like I said, when we started the case, if we didn't try it, we knew what the outcome would be. There'd be no change. But at least if we try, there's a crack in the armor. We can try it. We can try it from a new angle. Now, I still feel one of the people on the case, a young man, some of you know, I hope he's watching now. If not, he's in trouble. Seth, you remember Seth there, Mr. Mira, our old buddy Seth. We still do have a venture crew. We'd like to get it more active again. But back when we first opened, we just had a lot more time to give to the venture crew, and it was very, very popular. It was a nice youth group that we had in here. And Seth, one of the fine young men from our youth group, turned 21 back in March. His birthday's right after mine, and turned 21. And he was like me. He turned 16, got his driver's license, and like that's cool. But he wanted way more to turn 21 so he could get his pistol permit, right? Cared way more about that. And he turns 21, and Corona happens, and Monroe County is shut down, and they're not processing pistol permits. They say, see you, kid, come back. So in that case, me as obviously a Second Amendment supporter, to me, that's a huge chink in the armor against New York State, and really should be grounds of getting rid of our pistol permit process as we know it, of needing to have a permit just to own a handgun in your own home. We're one of the only states that has that. And again, like we talked about last time, that goes back to the Sullivan Act, way back, like literally over 100 years ago. And it is a racist, classist law that, man, if you want to talk about social justice and social reform, there's one right there that because you are not a landowning member of the elite, you don't deserve to protect yourself.
Completely discriminatory.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I don't have much hope for our really side of the lawsuit, which is crazy. I don't obviously like that or agree with it per se. But to circle back, the best way that you could support us is to support 2A New York State. Go on their website, sign up to be a member. That's one of their main tactics, is to fight New York State in the courtroom and make meaningful changes. Their lawyer, our lawyer, Jim Ostrowski, is one of the very few lawyers that has had success in fighting the SAFE Act against New York. He has helped several people out of Buffalo fight charges, absolutely ridiculous charges that in any other state, they're a free American, right? But just because they're in New York State, that's an illegal piece of plastic, and you're going to ruin your life and become a felon for the rest of your life and lose all of your rights, basically. So yeah, help 2A New York State. You're helping us, and we appreciate it. You can donate just to their lawsuit fund, or you can become a member. Becoming a member is not that much. And again, I don't want to talk bad about any other gun rights group in New York State. They've all done their part. We've really tried. 2A is just a new angle, new tactic. They're young guys like us, and they've just got some fresh new ideas about attacking it. So please help support them.
Steve is actually coming tomorrow.
Oh, is he really?
Training, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Steve was on the he was on the live stream a couple weeks ago when we had our machine gun shoot. He was out here, and him and Dwayne Whitmer were on here talking. We want to have him be a regular guest just because he is really like the authority on 2A, activity and activism, in New York State. And he's really been pushing. He does a lot downstate too, down in the New York City area. Super cool. And also with the radios, I don't want to talk too much about the radios because we've been hitting them so hard lately, but I did want to mention that I talked to Steve about doing a weekly net, which is just a fun, coffee chat, basically, whatever time we want to do it, probably some evening hours, but we'll just do like a 2A roundtable discussion on the Attica repeater, and we'll just get some people, Steve will be at his house in Buffalo, and I'll be at my house in Brockport, and people will just be chilling at their houses, and we'll talk on the radio and just talk about 2A Second Amendment stuff and what we can do to help each other out, and just kind of just a real informal, just a gun chat. So I think that'll be pretty fun. Yeah. So cool. we'll put that out there, and that'll be, again, one of those things where if you just have a walkie-talkie at the house, which I'm sure a lot of you have, if you have a walkie-talkie, tune it to channel 16, and you'll hear the repeater. You won't be able to talk back to us, but you'll be able to hear it at least. So that's kind of fun.
Neat.
All right.
Get supported. One more way for support in the year of our Lord 2020. Social media is the best way you can support
Absolutely.
us. Even just sharing our posts or just
share these
sharing
live
our
streams, right?
We do this for you guys. We do this for fun. You can't go out and see too many people's faces, so if you get to see our face Thursday nights, just please sharing us is just, it helps us so much.
We've got enough of these now. Like if you have a party, just put us up on the TV throughout the party and just let it play,
I'm sure your guests would really appreciate it.
If you work at like a Walmart or a Best Buy, just like during the day, put it on all the rows of TVs. Yeah, that would be great. All right, cool. Who wants to go in? And I saw the Bills, completely off topic. I saw the Bills are taking it's not going to be New Era Field anymore. It's going to be like the naming rights are up for bid. So I don't know how much it is, but let's pull together. Let's name the old Ralph Wesson Stadium like Freedom Field or something like that.
I like it.
I'm sick of all these cool places like I wasn't alive for it, but like the War Memorial Stadium downtown. That had some meaning. There was some pride to that. Like, wow, Blue Cross Blue Shield Arena, right. Frontier, whatever. Freedom Field. Make it happen. Send someone money. I don't know. Send it to me, I guess.
Send it to Brandon.
Okay.
He'll make it happen.
Patrick.
Yep.
He says, sorry, not you.
Oh,
a different Patrick.
Different Patrick.
He asked, have we heard about the Defund the Police protest planning in Rochester for the 19th? Their plan is to meet at MLK Park in downtown and then march to one of the highways to shut it down. We have heard about that, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. That'll be interesting. Obviously, we support people's rights to protest peacefully and to do their thing, but that's not that day. Yeah, maybe stay off the 490.
Yeah, obviously, right? Like proper planning prevents poor performance, I guess. So if you have somewhere to be, try and figure out an alternate route.
Yeah.
If you're at the protest, don't get hit by a car, I guess.
Yeah.
See how I don't know.
Oh man.
See how it goes.
We have heard about it though, and I hope that everything stays very peaceful and they do their thing and everybody goes home. There have been some rumblings though that obviously with that happening, it could spill and become what it was, like a month ago, whatever it was, the main protest and rioting and stuff. So we will be that day. Likely several of us will be listening on our scanners, definitely trying to keep our ears, listening, and we will put any pertinent information out over the repeater. All right. So we'll put some information again, how to link up and get on that repeater network. But you can always just listen on a walkie-talkie, but we'll put some info out. We'll try to keep things, keep that flow of information going. For sure. Stephen Williams. This kid, I'll tell you what, I used to work at scout camp with this kid, right? Now he's in the Marines, okay? So I think there's been a crayon shortage as much as there's been an ammo shortage.
Sure.
So he says, what happens when the gun goes pew pew? I put a metal thingy in the shooter hole and something came out of the end. And I had told him I answered some of these ahead of time. And I said, that is pretty much, that sounds like all you need to know.
Right.
I don't think there's much more that he really needs there.
Put the metal thing in the shooter hole.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen that video? It's the Army, I'm pretty sure. The guy's like laying down prone and he's like shooting. And he's like, drill sergeant, like my gun, it's not working. Like, drill sergeant, my gun. And he's like, yeah,
you shot all your
ammunition. Oh man,
that was very embarrassing.
We have
yeah, that was the Army.
Yeah, it happens though. It happens.
You do shoot all your ammunition. I'll say that. It happens.
You can just throw it away and get a new one.
Yeah, get a different magazine.
Yep.
You'll be all right.
Oh, I meant a whole gun. Oh, you just put a new. But the magazine can't come out of the gun.
Yeah, different shooter.
All right, Mike, another one of our top fans. Can you put together a combination shooting fitness program? Maybe call it shooting to the oldies.
Oh, thank God. I thought that said shooting at the oldies the first time I read it.
The sad thing is, though, like the oldies now is like Nirvana.
Right.
And like, you know what I mean? Like, oof. That's
my kids think my music is the oldies.
Seriously, yeah.
So, in fact, Michael, in reference to your question, as I was mentioning earlier, myself and Phil were over at the Polar Wave on Monday, and we were doing some combination fitness and shooting stuff. And we're going to be doing some more combination and fitness and shooting stuff at the Polar Wave on Saturday. There's going to be a group of dudes going out. So we'll be recording some more good content there as well. And yeah, so it should be a good time. Look forward to flipping some tires and hitting them with sledgehammers and doing some jumping and running.
We've definitely had people interested in that, and that was one of the eventual goals of Polar Wave, was to put in a full like military style obstacle course and just have it where you could go out there and do these obstacles and essentially turn a corner and you're in a range, right? And you can incorporate both of those, jog out, run an obstacle, do an obstacle, jog over the range, and run it. Right now with Polar Wave, we're really just in a holding pattern. Again, I sound like a broken record, but we're really just waiting to work with the town and get that project opening up. I'll be completely honest too. Obviously, everything with Corona, it kind of killed some of my motivation to do this too. It's been a lot, as a lot of you know. We're all under a lot of strain and pressures, and I just, as much as a business owner, I like taking risks. Got to take calculated risks at the same time. And it was just one of those, I've got to start making some money out there. I mean, it's costing us. We gotta pay the bills out there. But I really just had to take the time and focus on this place and some of our other endeavors. So it was kind of one of those like, all right, Polar Wave will still be there. We'll pick it back up when we can, and we'll get out there. And I guess the nice thing is we really don't have to do a lot to get it going. Once the town process is done, we can. I mean, we shoot out there now as just private. They're just my friends shooting on my land. So we can do that. We really can't have classes or have other people out there. Yeah, we can't really do that, but we will be. All right, we will be. And if it can't be this year, maybe we'll get some stuff over here and we can do some fitness stuff, jog around outside and hit the tires outside and we'll just run back in the range or whatever. Again, I was going to say the biggest or one of the big issues with that is vetting people. If we put that out there, we would have 100 people probably paid in full by next weekend.
Well, they want to come and do it, but can they actually do it and be safe about it is a whole different.
Adding another layer, you're moving with a firearm. Now there's just a lot to that. So we really just got to get everybody up to that level.
One step at a time. Right?
Yep. Sure. And that's what we'll be doing with these courses. We start small, crawl, walk, run. And as you come to them, like maybe this guy, Vince, our next question here, he was in your class on Sunday, one of our Discord friends. Hi, Vince, if you're watching, I hope you are. He had a lot of fun. He had a lot of great things to say about it. As we do these, you're going to identify shooters that like, wow, okay, like Vince knows his stuff. Well, why don't you come test out this next class we're developing, and we develop it that way. So I guess that'd be a great time. Tyler, I know we had other people post it last time. Maybe we could ask people to post the Discord link. We have a TFP Discord, which is a lot of fun. And that's a whole nother community that is just blossoming under our, I don't want to say supervision, but under, under our auspices. And and that's just a lot of fun. We pop in there as much as we can. People ask us questions directly, and that's pretty fun having that kind of engagement. And again, they were the ones we asked this past Sunday. Pat needed 4 or 5 people to help him develop a class and just work out some kinks and bugs in the class. And we had 4 or 5 people from the Discord that got like 3 good hours of training. I would say maybe 2, whatever it was, completely for free. Like, we didn't ask anything of them other than, you might be on camera a little bit, just to promote the class. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot more things like that. It's kind of just our insider, our insiders club, our close friends and whatnot. So, if we're doing a shoot out at Polar Wave and we need some bodies just to make it look like we're doing a class, that's where you're going to hear about it. If we need some help, maybe around the shop, if you've got skills, construction skills or this kind of stuff or whatever, go in there and drop us a note and just try to engage with us on there, because you never know what we get into. You just never know with us. So Kelly asked, what are my options for concealed carry holster Ruger LC9S that we have in stock? Let me see. I don't know if we've got one in stock. That might be tough.
Well, he's getting
so while Brandon.
How are you?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm doing great, man. But I was gonna say our friends at Just Holster It probably made this holster that he's grabbing.
They work great even after you drop them.
So even after you drop them, except you broke it, so you broke it.
So Just Holster It, local company, right in Buffalo. They make a great Kydex holster, and this one is a multifunction. You can change the angle of the clip on it, and this has got the protector add-on. I guess it's not really an add-on, but it's got a higher rise to it. Yeah, like a sweat guard, whatever you want to call it. So this is a really nice holster, $52.99. Definitely a holster. Like, everyone should have one of these holsters, like for every gun, basically, that they're going to carry. This is a good, I don't want to say like entry-level holster, because this is a great all-around holster. I guess we've touched on this before. Don't think you're only going to have one holster, though. Right. Like, if you have a concealed carry gun, like, be okay with the idea that you might have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holsters for it. And, sometimes different holsters are for different scenarios. Mm-hmm. This is just a good one. Like Kelly, it sounds like she has a Ruger LC9S and she needs a holster. Sure. This is a holster that works, and it's locally made, and it's a great holster.
And it's a minimalist design. It's not a whole lot of like excess material and stuff like that. Very, very durable Kydex. Mm-hmm. It's got everything you need, 1.5-inch belt clip, and it's adjustable for ride height and cant and all that good stuff. So it's a perfectly good holster.
And we carry these in stock. We've got a whole like 12-foot aisle dedicated to holsters. We really do. We've probably got 40 to 50 different guns, like a holster in stock for them. Certainly any gun that we sell here, like that's popular, we'll have a holster for, And the nice thing is, with these guys being local, a lot easier supply chain to manage than, getting like Safariland or some of these other ones that we've wanted to get. And holsters are so tough, especially for us to stock. Like we talked about it before, we want to be Safariland dealers. I mean, we can get Safariland holsters through our distributors, but just the diversity and for every gun, there's, even with Just Holster It, for every gun, there's like 5 or 6 different holsters they can make for it. So to have all of them at once, so to circle back, that's what's great about Just Holster It. Not only are they made here in America, they're made like 45 minutes down the road. So they're in here like every week or every other week, dropping off resupplies, dropping off custom orders. They've got molds for all these guns. So like if you call them up, we might not have one, but if you're like, I've got this weird gun and I've got a Surefire light on it, they'll mold it. Worst case, they might ask you to come out to Buffalo and they'll mold it, Yeah,
they do make custom.
They'll do it right there. It's going to be more expensive, of course, than one of their production. But they can do it. In fact, a few years ago, back when we had them, or they always come to Freedom Weekend. But a few years ago, they had it worked out where they were like making holsters like on site while you waited. And it was funny because I just kept going in the back and finding like, make a holster for this. And I was like just ridiculous guns that I would never actually carry. Like a Smith & Wesson, the 8-shot revolver, like the R8, I think they call it, like giant. Yeah, TR8. Yeah. Fun. So yeah, Kelly, come on down. $52.99. I got a few of them. Right hand in stock. And our last question that we got on that post was from Vince, who was in that class. Is there a class that is a continuation from that class? And we kind of touched on that before. Yes, there will be.
100%. Yeah, we haven't started doing that particular class just yet. Right now, we're sticking with the 2 kind of introductory classes, right? So the fundamentals of marksmanship class. If you're somebody that just got their pistol permit, or if you're somebody that just wants to kind of refresh and go over some of the very basic stance, grip, sight alignment, trigger control, follow through type stuff. That would be a good class. And then the concealed carry class is, obviously for people that have their permits, have been carrying a gun for a little while, and definitely want to go over, getting the gun out safely, right? Getting the gun back into the holster, malfunction clearances, shooting with one hand, shooting while you're moving, different stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that we hit on in the concealed carry class. So we got 2 full classes now this Sunday.
It's going to be awesome.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And there'll be some more classes coming up. Probably one the first weekend in August. We'll do 2 more of those classes, and then nice. I'll be in Pennsylvania for the tactical games the following weekend.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
So for those of you that don't know, the tactical games are like a marriage between like a Spartan race or a Tough Mudder and a 2-gun or 3-gun shooting match, right? So Pat's going to be out there. Like, there'll be a run. You don't really know. Might be 1 to 2 miles, might be 5 miles. Yeah. You don't really know yet. You don't really know until you get there, right? What it is, but there's going to be a rope climb. You're going
to climb ropes. There's going to be heavy, like awkward object carries. You're going to have to carry awkward shaped objects over long distances. There's going to be some sort of like an obstacle course type deal. And about the long run. So it's going to be a pretty fun weekend. I'm looking for. It's going to be challenging,
fun and
right?
No, yeah.
Well, I haven't done anything like that in a long time.
Sure.
So it's going to be probably pretty challenging. I thought about competing at the elite level, but I was like, I don't really know.
It's your first time.
Yeah, it's my first kind of time out there, and I'm getting a little older.
Don't say that.
Well, I'll be 37 the week before, so I'm just gonna take it easy and kind of see if it's something, maybe next year, if I compete this year and I do okay, maybe next year I'll try to do the elite division. This year I just want to kind of.
Yeah, I remember you saying the trouble kind of with the elite one is you can't really with the intermediate, you can, there's a workaround. Like if you can't
an obstacle, right, you can do like burpees or whatever, or you can there's like
the elite one, you're just kind of
you just have to eat the whole time thing. And it's like, I just kind of want to have fun.
Sure.
Right? And it's that I want to go out and push it too.
Sure.
But at the same time, if I'm broke off halfway through the second day, I don't want to be sitting there for 2 hours. Oh my God, why am I sitting here?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and a lot of people, when they go into competitions, they kind of wrongly oh, I'm going to go out there and win. It's like, well, yeah, you should try to win.
Go out there and do the best that I can do within my capabilities.
Yeah, and really, this is a big just training exercise for you. This is a nice goal at the end that you want to compete and do well at this event. But that really just gives your training purpose,
Right. It's just something to look forward to.
Right.
It's
absolutely
just something to kind of get me motivated for a couple months and say, I'm going to get after it for a couple months so that I can go and do this. So that's why I'm running more and doing more different stuff. Speaking of, Tyler had a really good idea about how we could incorporate some rope climbing into the tactical games training. So here's what we need to do. We need to just take a rope and just get the Terex. And just.
Why didn't we think of that?
Right.
That's genius.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's too easy, right?
Smart.
Now we can climb ropes.
Smart.
So
super wicked smart.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have you 40 feet up.
Yeah.
Just put some mats down or whatever.
There's grass.
Yeah, it's fine. You're fine.
Grass.
No big deal. But that brings me to one of our, I don't know how much engagement we've got in this video. If we've got some questions.
Yeah, do we have any questions or
We
anything?
have a couple questions actually.
Sweet. But that brings me to one of the points I was going to make was, again, Pat is kind of the experiment here. We're going to see how interested you are in these training videos of him training towards doing the tactical games. But we'd really like to have a true like shooting team, you know, like the company here is sponsoring part of Pat's journey there, you know, like we're helping him train, we're getting him some ammo, you know, we're paying for the games themselves, right? Things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But we would love to develop, you know, it's not like we could have 20 people. We'd love to have a team of 4 or 5, maybe 6 people that are willing to put the time in, train, and really take it seriously and have a real like TFP shooting team. I mean, there are some competitions out there. I'm sure you've seen them on YouTube and other places, but there are some really interesting and fun competitions. For sure. And again, one of the biggest reasons Pat is going is just to stay, I don't know, relevant is not really the right term, but just to stay on that, you know, you're either moving forward or you're kind of moving backwards, right? So you want to stay current, yeah, and just see where the industry is going. And we also don't want to be one of those people or schools really or stores that, you know, I got certified in 2014 when I opened and I never took training since, and I've never evolved and I've never, you know, pushed myself or just done any of that development, right? And we've tried to do that almost every year we've been open. We've sent the staff or brought training in some way. And sometimes it's not even really gun related, you know, but we'll try to do some type of professional development, so to speak. And that's the biggest thing that really it is for you, is just staying current as an instructor and putting yourself out there ahead of your students, basically.
Right.
And, you know, yeah, follow along with me on the journey. So
absolutely. We're always trying to get better, right? Like ultimately, when you guys see all the stuff that we're doing here, whether it's at Polar Wave or whether it's on the range here or for the live stream or training for the tactical games, whatever it is, we're always on the same journey, right? We're always trying to get better. So that's what you guys are doing, and I'm no different. So I'm here trying to get better, and I want you guys to kind of, as Brandon said, follow along with me on that journey and like help me learn stuff too, right? Because I only get better by training with other people as well. So,
right.
You know, we all have to have people like, you know, that are kind of like we're competing with, but we're also like helping along and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to grow the tribe a little bit. So that's what we should all be.
And we're also going to need a bunch of like crusty, you know, veterans to basically just like make fun of you while you're doing all this.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
I need people that can like
have the old Sarge club.
Bit,
right? You know, just chain smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee and just making fun of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So pretty much the same thing that I do.
Yeah. Ty, what do we got? How are people doing tonight? How you doing tonight?
Yes, the people are fine. The people are beautiful. I have a couple questions. A couple of them are silly. Please submit the silly answer or questions.
Silly is good.
Questions.
We're silly.
I'm gonna start with a silly one. We've had some.
Sure. I like it.
This one actually came from YouTube Live. I remembered to check that. We have 4 viewers. Millions of people watching there. It's absolutely insane.
The comment section is out of control.
Yeah, it's I'm not
getting flagged left and right.
The question is this real? I ask myself that every day.
Yeah.
What is the simulation, man?
Is this real? Wow. That's a little philosophical for me.
First question from YouTube.
Can't prove that any of this is real or fake, really. I mean,
what is reality?
I saw The Matrix.
Right.
Can't, you know.
Keanu Reeves, man.
That's a deep question.
Yes, I think this is real.
Seems
after that killed, man, everything's just been weird.
I've read those conspiracy threads. Yeah. Sorry, completely off topic. I'm sorry, but that's what happens. Have you seen that theory that like you can't prove? I think this was like a Joe Rogan thing, so excuse me. I'm sorry, but there's like a theory that you can't prove that anything actually happened like before the year like 1800 or something like that. Like you just can't prove it. Yeah. It could all be, you know.
heard stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I mean,
it hurts.
it kind of makes sense.
We need more beer.
Yeah.
Right?
Beer.
Kind of makes sense.
Kind of serious question.
Sure.
AK-47. Can we make them legal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for
All
sure.
day, every day.
Yeah. We
100%.
sold a bunch of them. You
Too easy.
can go the route. You can do a fixed mag route, right?
Yeah,
Pinned mag.
That's not my favorite way though.
But you can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
So Palmetto State Armory, right?
Mhm.
They make that AKE, which is supposed to be a pretty rad gun as far as being like a U.S. made gun. So with them, you just take the muzzle device off and you put a thread cap on there and you throw a stinking shark fin grip on there.
Sure.
And
Oh, there you
you're
go.
already good.
Good to go.
100% as
Yeah.
soon as you do that. So that would be my suggestion. If you want just one that's easy, plug and play,
Sure.
like under $1,000, US made gun with a forged bolt and like a proper trunnion and everything.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Somebody that knows you, he just says Nate. I'm assuming he knows you. Asks your thoughts on a Surefire Masterfire, which is a duty holster that indexes from the X400U Lite. Very specific.
oh, the Surefire Masterfire. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. From what I've heard about that Surefire holster, they're supposed to be not very good.
Yeah.
I've been told that the Surefire holsters are not supposed to be
I
good.
had high hopes with them because we're big fans of Surefire. At least I am. I'm a fan of all the bougie products, right? But it's a cool idea, especially like maybe for us behind the counter. We have a lot of different firearms, so it's tough to have a nice holster for all of them. So in theory, it was a good idea because it indexes off the light, as you said, so you can swap out
whatever gun,
whatever
you
gun
want,
basically you
essentially.
want, and yeah, it indexes off the light. But I've heard the same thing that holster was not
Properly, I heard it
just
wasn't
not
that
as
well
good.
made.
Yeah, just get it's one of those things. And then again, when you start going down that trail, how many for us it kind of makes sense, or for someone in the industry it
Right.
kind of makes sense, but you really shouldn't be doing that. Again, for say like a self-defense gun, which is what you use a holster for, right? Like that should be something you should kind of like stick with one thing maybe, or maybe two things, or maybe like have a Glock 17 and a Glock 19, something like that. That would be my recommendation, be to stay away.
So I think
Get a Safari Land.
Or like there's that Filster. There's the holster that Darnell uses, the Filster, which also indexes off a light.
No, that's true. Yeah. I haven't
so-
seen that one too much, but yeah.
So that there are like better. If you wanted one that indexes off the light, I know there's another one out there called the Filster, and it's pretty good. And that one actually indexes off either a TLR1 or an X300. So I don't know about the 400. I'm not sure if they make one for that specific light yet, or if there's another company out there. But I really don't know too much about the Surefire Masterfire holster specifically. I just remember when the Surefire holsters first came out, I heard they were
Sure. And I definitely, I'm not trying to shit on anybody's, what they do or their mindset or whatever. For me, again, like holster with a firearm, you're talking about a gun, again, either like a duty gun or like daily, your everyday carry, your self-defense gun.
right.
There are definitely some guys out there that, it's like a watch or like a pair of shoes. Like, oh, which one am I going to do today? Like, oh, I think today I'm going to do this one. And like, oh, today I think I'm going to do that one. And it's like, that's not my preference. I would not want to. The only, I guess, time I would, again, we've done this, is here. Sometimes we'll wear a gun like openly, kind of just for fun or just for the lulls. You know what I mean? And like that's different. I guess you'd call that like a barbecue gun, which again is not really that popular here in New York because we can't really open carry unless you're on your own property. And even then, if you're at a barbecue in Greece, you're not going to do that.
No,
But long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
Please. Can we have a low light course but use lanterns?
So again, that when you do low light, that is a huge danger zone. I want to say
Liability goes through the stinking roof of that. We need other. Problem with low light, honestly, for me, is we need other like people who have trained in low light first as like range safety, so they know what to look. There's very specific requirements that we'd have to meet in order to do that. So we haven't really thought too much down that road yet.
That would probably be like the last thing
Yeah, honestly,
in the training pyramid or the training like path.
I really recognize the value in low light, and I want to do more low light stuff with you guys. And I like to do low light stuff myself, but I don't feel comfortable running a low light class unless we're doing it under like very specific conditions with very specific group of people. And very specific, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. You open up so much.
The nice thing with the indoor range is, though, we have 100% control of the light in there. So we could, as we go down this training path with everyone, 6 months from now, we've got a couple squads of shooters that they're ready for it. It can be 2:00 on a bright Sunday afternoon, and we can turn the lights. You know what I mean? So like, we can do it. We have done it. But man, are you just adding? It's not twice as hard. It's 10 times as hard. It's just adds so many complications. So
everything's got to be done correct. It's got to be planned out really well. And we're just kind of getting the ball rolling on some of this stuff. So I think, if anything, that would be like maybe, what is it, July now? Maybe toward like the end of the year.
Right.
Something like that. You know what I mean? That's going to be a few months out.
It's one of those things too. It's so tough. Same, we deal with this every day in the range. We don't know you, right? And there's 50 guys watching right now who could do it and could handle it, no problem. But we just don't know that.
Well, but then there's 25 guys that think they could do it and think they could handle it, and they're gonna
right.
20 of those guys are gonna come in here and have a negligent discharge in the dark because they've never handled their gun in the dark before in their life. Right. But they think they can come in there and do that course.
They skipped all those foundational courses,
That's the biggest problem.
My uncle, the cop, taught me.
There's always egos, and for some reason, when you put a gun in somebody's hand, there's always ego involved, and nobody can ever just admit to themselves, like, you know what, maybe my skill level is not where it needs to be going down this particular path, right?
There was a guy on Sunday. I won't say who he was, but there was a guy on Sunday that just wasn't
spurred to it. I had to ask him to go.
Right, and that happens, and he understood. And he saw it. And, we've definitely had either times in the range or when we do training and we just, you have that conversation with someone. It's just, hey, man, like, you're just not ready for this yet. We'll work with you. We'll get you there.
Yeah, definitely come back and see us another time.
We'll get you to where you need to be, but it's just not going to happen today. And there are some people that take that and they're like, oh, well, if you guys like doing, like, well, you guys are dumb or whatever. This guy, no, he was completely cool about it. He understood. I mean, he hung around and he bought a holster from us, so he couldn't have been too mad. Yeah. He would have just left if you had.
No, he like accepted the criticism.
Get out or whatever.
Like, okay,
and that just goes back to what we've been saying. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. He thought he was good to go, and that was a good reality check for him. That, wow, I'm a gun owner and I've been carrying this firearm and I've been doing all these things, and I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. Owning. Just owning the gun and having it, that really does nothing for you. Right. Other than now you have it, you don't have to wait to go buy one at a store or whatever. But yeah, you got to take some training. Yeah. Nice. What else we got, Ty? About it?
Yeah, but I got a question.
Sure, try me.
What's your drink of choice? I know you down there, Brandon, but like, Pat, you ever out at a bar where you like to drink?
I mean, usually I'll just have a beer, right?
Okay.
But if I'm like feeling a little bit froggy or whatever, then sometimes I'll have like, a shot of whiskey or 3 wise men, right? Johnny, Jack, and Jim.
All 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Brandon.
Nice. I'm a big fan of like whiskey sours. My buddy Mike Santola, who owns All Star Tactical, he's a real big bourbon guy and whiskey and stuff like that. And he's like a purist, like nothing in there but the whiskey itself and whatnot. And I do enjoy a good whiskey and a good bourbon, but for me, it's got to be in a cocktail. I wasn't cut out for Mad Men, I guess. I need it, yeah. Mine would be a bullet bourbon sour, a bullet sour. That would be mine. What about you, Ty?
You got me on the bullet bourbon train.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
When I was 21, I definitely enjoyed bullet bourbon for the first time. Beer, man, I like beer too. I'm 24. You gotta have beer. And Jack and Coke.
There you go. Sure. So we're going to the Red Jug after this. We're just going right over there.
Let's go hard with the jug.
Oh man. Like when everything, like when we can do this again, I don't know how we could work it out, but I'm sure we could. We should do like a thing at like Eli Fish or something.
Right.
We have a lot of friends. Some of the main people at Eli Fish are our buddies too, and that's a cool place, pretty central in the area, and they got some good food and good beer. We should do like a meet and greet or whatever, like a meetup or whatever. See if they'll let us do a live stream like during it. That'd be kind of cool.
Sweet.
I bet they would. Get Josh, we'll do some live music and just party, just take the place over.
Josh
All right.
Falling out.
I'm setting this up.
I like it.
So yeah, I guess that's probably going to do it for this week's live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Those that did, if you're watching this later, we appreciate you too.
Absolutely.
Please like and share this, spread some love, show it to your buddies. You know, we really want to just keep this going and just keep the community growing and just keep some positive, you know, two-way videos out there. Stay tuned. Tyler's going to get pepper sprayed. So again, that's going to be more of an edited video, and we'll put a little bit more production into that. It won't be live like this, but yeah, next week we're going to do on the radio Facebook page. We're going to do a radio live stream. We're going to do those like every other week. So coming up, this is our off week, but next week on the Attica 462 repeater page, I'm going to be doing a radio live stream. If you haven't liked that page, if you're interested in the radios, we've started a different Facebook page. Maybe we can throw the link in there. I'll try to after. But it's Attica 462.575. And if you type that into Facebook, you'll find us. And that's just, you know, we don't want to do so much on here about radios that you know, it loses the focus. Obviously, we're all well-rounded here. So that's just about radios. It'll be much more specific. We'll be doing some deep dives into some topics and really just hitting that hard. But yeah, that's all I got.
Next Thursday, this live stream, rifle show.
Nice.
We're going to talk all about AR-15s.
But that's a pistol.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah. Maybe we'll talk about the pistol braces.
I didn't mean to.
No, because that might be a good topic to hit on too, though.
One will be provided.
Every politician out there was like, "What do you mean that's a pistol?"
Get them. Yeah, we'll talk about your scary black rifles and pistols.
There you go.
Guys. All right.
Nice.
Thanks
Cool.
for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see ya.
Stay beautiful.